everybody. Let's have some news. We just got back from a trip. You guys don't know about it. That's one of the reasons why there was no video on Monday. A resident of the Villages was sentenced to jail time after her arrest last week in an undercover prostitution sting. You guys saw this last week. You remember that picture. Melissa Jane Berg, 44, who lives in the village of Bonnybrook, pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of prostitution during a first appearance on Wednesday in Marion County Court. She was sentenced to 5 days in jail with credit for time already served. So, drugs, drug paraphernalia, prostitution, 5 days in jail, and she's out walking again. That's how it goes here. A 63-year-old villager will lose her license after a traffic crash at Lake Sumter Landing. Claire Louise Vanderberg of the village of Caroline pleaded no contest this week in Sumter County Court. 2 charges: driving under the influence and resisting arrest. She'll lose her driver's license for 6 months, has been placed on probation for 1 year, and has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. You guys recognize this, I believe, from last week's news. These are updates of what's happened. It's an update. A 61-year-old sex offender living with his mother in the Villages was arrested Saturday night on a charge of driving under the influence. Edward Charles Wardingley, who lives at 1312 La Estrelita Way in the village of Santiago, was booked at 11 p.m. Saturday at the Sumter County Detention Center. He is also charged with violating his probation. Wardingley was convicted in 2018 of lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim between the ages of 12 and 15. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He moved to the Villages last year. Thanks, Mommy. I leave these pictures up a little bit longer than some. I want you to burn these images in your mind if you live here. If you see this guy around your family pool, you need to call the police right away. A controversial walking path, branded by the official as the $1 million mile, was covered with mud after heavy rain this week. The Lake Meone walking trail is under construction along Buena Vista Boulevard following the approval of $730,000 project in April by the project-wide advisory committee. Many sections of the path were covered with mud and water after heavy rain Saturday and Sunday. One section of the path clearly had water running underneath the flexi-pad surface. The surface that they put up there is a special walking surface. It flexes a little bit as you walk. I don't know anything about it. I just know that's what it is. I've seen it before. And I want to give them a little bit of credit here that this isn't really correct, because if you'll look at these pictures, you'll see a sandy area and then grass on the other side of that sandy area. They're not done working yet. And we have had some heavy rains. I venture to say that when they get done, you won't have this water, and they say mud, but it looks like sand is washed down there. I don't think you'll have that problem in the future. Water covering the trails will always happen. We just get so much rain. Just expect it. You're going to get water puddles on the trail as time goes by, but once it quits raining around here, water disappears pretty quick. To the editor, I don't know how you obtain your knowledge. Oh, this is reaction to a lady last week. I think I read it in one of her letters. She was talking about illegal immigrants taking their breaks up at the Paradise Recreation Center, which is on the historical side. As a matter of fact, they're getting ready, I think, to remodel that whole recreation center or update it or something. But anyway, she was saying all these illegals are coming up there. This is a response to her letter to the editor last week. I don't know how you obtained your knowledge that all the landscape workers are illegal immigrants, and if you don't work for ICE, what business is it of yours? The gentlemen I have encountered around the common area are polite, hardworking, and respectful. The people you encounter at the Paradise area are getting refuge from the grueling heat. The people at Paradise are there for a lunch break, and then it's back to business pulling weeds, remulching, and replenishing common areas with beautiful landscaping we all enjoy with no sweat on our brow. Thank you, Mr. Landscaper. Have a nice lunch. Fred Miller from the village of Country Club Hills. I don't know if this lady's wrong. I don't know that you're wrong. I got a feeling that both of you's kind of halfway right. A Massachusetts man was jailed after creating a commotion at, once again, Margarita Republic in downtown Spanish Springs. Robert Corey Watkins, 31, who was identified by his Massachusetts driver's license, was screaming and dumping an alcoholic beverage on himself in the middle of the roadway. at about 2 a.m. Saturday at the night spot, according to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. There was also a loud commotion with people yelling from the bar area. Walken, who has been living at 1313 Lester Drive on the historic side of the Villages, appeared to be heavily intoxicated. Once again, a kid living in a retirement community. They do this here all the time, and I don't agree with it. I don't care what the rules are. I don't agree with it. He told officers he was going to walk home, but officers suggested that he take a cab for concern of his own safety. Watkins refused and said he would be going to jail instead. Okay. They're not going to argue with you. What is that? Is that like a dare? I dare you? You're going to lose, dude. Watkins was handcuffed and placed in a patrol car. He banged his head twice on the side of the patrol car, and Lake EMS was summoned to the scene. Watkins began kicking at officers and was placed in a 4-point restraint. In other words, they hog-tied him. He also screamed racial slurs and obscenities at the officers. Man, you just digging a bigger hole. He began spitting at officers. That's assault, by the way. And he was put in a spit mask for the protection of the officers and EMS personnel. He was found to be in possession of marijuana. You know, when we had the chief on, I asked about that head banging thing. I don't get it. I thought maybe there was an answer that I didn't think about, so I asked him about it. I said, why do people do that when they get in a cop car? Why do they start banging their head on stuff? He ain't hurt nobody but himself. He wasn't real sure either, other than thought that maybe they were doing that to be able to say, you beat me up kind of thing, you know, but nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. It's just them small percentage of people out there that want to make waves. Anyway, his bond was set at $6,500, and apparently he's still sitting in jail. Good. A villager was jailed on a felony charge after a battle with another golfer over golf balls. Oh, God, you old people, you just crack me up. Hey, dude, if you're hard up for golf balls, get in contact with me. I got a bucket of them out there. I'll give them to you. There must be, 300 or 400 of them out there. You can have them. Damn. If you could buy a $500,000 house, quit stealing golf balls. Damn. End of rant. John Francis Stinnett, 61, of the village of St. John's, was arrested on charge of battery on a person over the age of 65 on Saturday by Sumter County Sheriff's Department. Stinnett had been golfing that morning and was playing behind a 76-year-old man. That man told deputies he had grabbed 2 golf balls from the green and proceeded to the next green. I was going to say, how does your ball get on the green when he gets on the green unless you hit your ball when he was on the green? And that's unethical. Well, no, you guys are probably playing together. Never mind. Shut up, Skip. That man told deputies he had grabbed 2 golf balls from the green and proceeded to the next green, according to the arrest report. He said Stinnett, who stands 6'1" tall and weighs 185 pounds, approached him demanding the return of his golf balls. Stinnett pushed him in the chest with both hands, causing him to stumble backwards. You pushed a 76-year-old man. Are you kidding me? I don't care how nasty he is. He's 76. Jesus. I'm done with the rant. Stinnett grabbed the man by the wrist and pried the golf balls from his grasp. Stinnett left in a golf cart. Multiple witnesses told deputies they had seen Stinnett push the other man and take the golf balls from him. The Maryland native was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,000 bond. It's golf! You're retired! What the hell's the matter with you? A restaurant has closed at Spanish Springs Town Square, but will reopen under new ownership. Farm Shed American Diner opened in 2021 at the former home of 2J's Gourmet Deli. 2J's is pretty good. I don't know anything about Farm Shed. I get stuck on old things. I don't like change. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't like change. I accept it like everybody else does, but I generally don't go with change real easy. And I like 2J's, and I like the one in Spanish Springs a lot because there used to be our favorite waitress up there after we played golf with some of my old golf buddies, and it was a nice place. And because of COVID, they lost money and had to, I don't even know what the whole deal was, but all I know is when it left, I never went back. The Farm Shed American Diner opened in 2021 at the former home of 2J's Gourmet Deli. The 2J's chain filed for bankruptcy in April 2020 amid the COVID-19 crisis. The 2J's location at Lake Sumter Landing in Brownwood remain open and appear to be doing well after the company's reorganization. Farm Shed American Diner was operated by Carlo and Nicole Beluski, residents of the village of Buttonwood. However, they opted to forfeit the daily breakfast and lunch clientele, which have been pretty loyal to 2J's. A sign posted Monday morning at the restaurant announced that a new owner will be taking over. We have had an incredible ride, the Farm Shed team said in its goodbye note. FMK Restaurant Group, which operates Bluefin Bar, the Chop House, and several country clubs in the villages will be taking over Farm Shed. Oh, great. Another FMK restaurant that'll bore you to death. And the menu's always the same. It never changes. It's just boring. I don't like it. Rant over. A woman will lose her driver's license in 2020 after hitting a bicyclist near the village of Finney, was arrested when she was caught back behind the wheel of a car. Constance Marie Perkins, 36, of Ocala, was driving a brown GMC Sierra pickup at about 3 p.m. Tuesday on East Warm Springs Avenue near Mulberry Street in Coleman when a Sumter County Sheriff's deputy ran the vehicle's license plate and discovered it had expired. During a traffic stop, Perkins presented the deputy with a Florida identification card and admitted she did not have a valid driver's license. A check revealed Perkins' driver's license had been canceled indefinitely as of 2020. That year, Perkins lost her license and was placed on probation after her vehicle hit a bicyclist in the vicinity of US 301 and Warm Springs Avenue. The bicyclist was knocked to the roadway. Witnesses followed her vehicle to a gas station where Perkins purchased 2 cans of beer and put them into her trunk. According to the arrest report, Perkins claimed she had not seen the bicyclist and was unaware she struck anyone. The passenger side of her vehicle had about $2,000 worth of damage. Perkins' eyes were red and watery, and she smelled strongly of alcoholic beverage. She struggled through field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that registered .156 and 145 blood alcohol content. You know, I'm only going to say this. Sue and I got back from a trip yesterday, and I see bicycles just here and there, riding down the highways. And it's weird. Some bicycles are riding on the right side of the road, and then some bicycles are riding on the left side of the road. These are roads that really clearly are not marked bicycle trails or anything. And then some of these roads are really narrow. There is no bicycle trail. It's just 2-lane road. And there's bicycles going down these roads. I told Sue, I said, you know what? I said, as crazy as these drivers are around here, I would not ride a bicycle on a public road anywhere. I mean anywhere. There's a good chance you're going to get hit. I just wouldn't do it. It's not that important. I'd find me some place to ride my bicycle where I felt safe, and I would not feel safe riding a bicycle on any of these public roads around here. Not me. Now, some of the bicycle trails we have here on public roads, we have a golf cart trail. That's probably safer than the average road. I want you to make sure you understand what I'm talking about here. I would not ride a bicycle, let's say, on Highway 301. Unless I had to. I mean, if I'm going to work and I don't have a driver's license, I guess you have to do that. I wouldn't want to. 2 cars were involved in a crash Wednesday evening on Morris Boulevard north of County Road 466. Witnesses said a red Hyundai at 5:45 p.m. was northbound on Morris Boulevard when a copper-collared 4-door sedan attempted a left turn into the village of Hacienda West. After the cars collided, the red Hyundai was forced onto San Fernando Drive, which also serves as the exit for the village of Hacienda West. It caused a disruption in the flow out of Hacienda West. Both vehicles involved in the crash sustained front-end damage. Sumter County EMS personnel was first to arrive at the accident site, followed shortly thereafter by the village's Public Safety Department and Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The University of Florida Health has announced nearly 1,000 patients may have had their medical records assessed in a new data breach. On August 9, 2022, University of Florida Health Shands learned that an employee may have inappropriately assessed information in patients' medical records outside the scope of the employee's job's duties between April 27, 2021 and July 21, 2022. Hospital system said in a statement, UF Health, which is the parent company of UF Health, the Villages Hospital, and UF Health Leesburg Hospital, said 941 patients have been notified as a result of the data breach. I am one of them. They sent me an email. I'm not sure that that's proper. They had a data breach. Think about it. And they sent me an email. So anyway, they're checking things out and seeing what's going on. They say that Social Security's was not part of the data breach, but other things was, like medical records, what's the matter with you, symptoms, medicine, stuff like that. So, they tell you this stuff. It's like, well, what am I going to do about it? I know about it, but now what do I do? I don't know what to do. Wildwood Utilities employees flushed 175 fire hydrants last weekend to clear excess iron from the freshwater system, which was coloring the water yellow for some residents. Officials said the residents still experiencing discolored water should call 352-330-1336 between 7:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. so a technician can be sent to investigate. Just a little point. They always tell you to do this whenever there's a problem anywhere with whatever. Call us between 7 and 5. What if you work third? See what I'm getting at? You're going to lose sleep during the day to wait for somebody to show up to take care of something because they give you a window around here to get something fixed. We'll be there sometime between noon and 7 p.m. We're very busy today. I'm sorry. I'm done with that rant. Letter to the editor. This is in response to a letter apparently that was on last week's news. I may not have reported it. I don't know. I just kind of randomly pick out one and read it that I think is kind of interesting for people that know what's going on around here. We've had this roof scam thing going on for a long time. I know what it is. I know how it works. Everybody says, well, that's going over the whole nation. No, it's not. I've talked to insurance companies that have stations in other states, and they're telling me it's basically the hurricane area that they're wanting to get out of again. And of course, the roofing scams is putting them over the line to do that. So they're leaving Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, the coastal regions. Not sure about here in Central Florida, because even when we have a hurricane, if you watch my videos, I sat right here during Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma went right through here, and I wanted to see just how bad it would actually get in the mid part of the state. And after seeing that, I'm really not concerned anymore. So would that affect us here? I don't know, but I'm concerned. It says, Dear Mr. Hayduk, Hayduk. Apparently this is the person that must have made a statement about something that this guy takes aggression with. For your information, I am not stupid and did not fall for anything. I was told by my insurance company that I needed a new roof. I don't consider that a scam. Perhaps you should be slinging your arrows at them. I was not offered any money for referrals, nor did I make any. That is sent in by Michael Utter, Village of Tall Trees. Now here is another letter to the editor about insurance companies. You know what the real scam is? Insurance policies. Insurance companies and their policies are not designed to lose money. And even in the current heavy roof claim climate, they are still making money. The ones that aren't are pulling out, and I doubt a single one has truly gone bankrupt. Another scam. Mortgage and insurance companies forcing homeowners to replace perfectly good roofs because of the arbitrary age limits rather than true need. If you haven't figured it out now, I am very anti-insurance. I do not feel sorry for them one bit. They always come out on top, and if it looks like they won't, they bail. Their primary mission is to make money by not providing the service that they are selling. If you unfortunately have a mortgage on your property, you have to have insurance. If you're fortunate enough to own your property free and clear, then self-insure. And that's what I said on my last statement. I don't know what else to do. I'm not going to be ripped off. I'm not going to be told to tear out that roof, remove that door. You need to get a new garage door so we don't have to cover that. All the windows need to be replaced. Where's it stop? I will self-insure myself, and that'll be the end of it. I'm not going to do it. That was sent in by Gene Charnas, Charnas, from Orlando and the Villages. By the way, you'll be surprised how many people that live in Florida that actually have a home here and another home in Florida. To the editor, we need to get the governor fully involved in this looming problem. Let's blame the governor. Florida may soon reach a point where the reality will be, don't move to Florida unless you can really afford home ownership with all the costs associated with it. A time may be soon reached that it will be blessed by legislation that guarantees a fair rate of return to insurance companies and that may price new homeowners out of the market. Perhaps it's blessing in disguise as so many apartments are being built. The village's developer has enough clout. He better get involved now or he will see a loss of new home sales in the future. And that was sent in by Steve Grimm. I don't know if he lives in villages or that's just somebody's opinion. A man from Mexico who overstayed his visa was apprehended on the Florida Turnpike in Sumter County. Juan Agustin Mexicano Prieto, 30, of Ocala, was driving a white 2016 Nissan work van with an expired license plate Monday morning. He was pulled over at the exit of 301 in the Florida Highway Patrol. Mexicano Prieto presented the trooper with a Mexican identification card and admitted he did not have a driver's license. A check with the U.S. Border Patrol reveals that Mexicano Prieto had overstayed his U.S. visa. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center where a hold was put on his custody by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. A Village of St. Charles woman was arrested after pills were found in her purse. Melinda Susan Philbrook, 47, lives with her mother at 2146 Baldwin Run, was taken into custody Monday on a probation violation. When she was taken into custody and prior to booking at the Sumter County Detention Center, she was asked if she had any contraband. She said she did not. However, when a probation officer searched Philbrook's purse, which was located in a waiting room with her boyfriend, several drugs were found, including, oh my God, I'll never be able to say this. Man, it's a laundry list of stuff I can't pronounce. I'm not even going to go there. The drug diazepam, a Schedule 4 controlled substance, was also found in her purse. None of the pills were in prescription bottles. She was booked without bond. A villager who admitted to sipping champagne was arrested after she was suspected of driving impaired. Elaine Dabuwala, 63, of the village of Osceola Hills, was driving a white Acura SUV at 9:43 p.m. Monday in the area of County Road 466 and Rolling Acres Road when she was caught on radar traveling 60 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone, according to an arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. She turned into Rolling Acres Road and nearly hit numerous mailboxes. During a traffic stop, officers noticed that Dubois' eyes were glassy and her pupils were dilated. She said she had consumed an entire glass of champagne. She performed poorly in field sobriety exercises and provided 2 breath samples that registered .027 blood alcohol content. A native of Russia also provided a urine sample. She was booked at the Lake County Jail on a charge of driving under the influence. She was released after posting a $1,000 bond. A 20-year-old motorcyclist remains unresponsive after suffering a traumatic brain injury a week ago in a crash at the intersection of Rolling Acres Road and County Road 466. I have an update to that. Let me find it for you. A 20-year-old motorcyclist in a crash at the intersection of Rolling Acres Road and County Road 466. Caleb Turner Collinsworth of Weirsdale was airlifted to Ocala Regional Medical Center after colliding at 10:40 a.m. August 28th with a red Lexus SUV driven by a resident of the Villages. He is suffering from a traumatic brain injury, numerous broken bones, and continues to be unresponsive. Helen Gristed of Umatilla wrote in setting up a GoFundMe page to raise money for Collinsworth medical expenses. Collinsworth had been riding a black 2022 Yamaha motorcycle when he collided with the Lexus SUV driven by 72-year-old Robert Wright Borst of the village of Springdale. Borst had been traveling east on County Road 466 and was in the left turn lane making a turn onto Rolling Acres Road when the collision occurred, according to the accident report from the Lady Lake Police Department. The report noted that Collinsworth's motorcycle had been traveling 80 miles per hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. Collinsworth, who had been wearing a helmet, was ejected from the motorcycle in the collision. A passenger in Borst's vehicle, 93-year-old Beverly Irene Loon, who lives in Sumter Senior Living in the Villages, suffered minor injuries and was transported to Ocala Regional Medical Center. Both vehicles were towed from the scene by Kling Towing. I want to read this right away because I happen to know it's here and it's an update. The family of a 20-year-old motorcyclist critically injured in an accident has made the painful decision to remove him from life support. Caleb Turner Collinsworth of Wearsdale was airlifted to Ocala Regional Medical Center after colliding at 10:40 a.m. August 28th with a red Lexus SUV driven by a resident of the Villages. Collinsworth was a registered organ donor. An honored walk was set for 10 p.m. Sunday at the hospital in recognition of Collinsworth's organ donation. He suffered traumatic brain injury and numerous broken bones in the crash at Rolling Acres Road and County Road 466. That's a shame. It's a shame to have to make that decision. What can you say to the mother and father? A villager has been ordered to drive her son directly to rehab after a trio of arrests this year. Judge Mary Hatcher last month in Sumter County Court ordered the mother of 22-year-old Jake Thomas Bledsoe to drive her son directly to the Believe Treatment Center in Palm Beach Gardens. The judge specified that the village of Hawkins residents shall be permitted to stop for gasoline, but there shall not be no stops for shopping, leisure, etc. Bledsoe, who lives with his mother, has been allowed to enter the drug or treatment program as he awaits prosecution on several criminal charges. The North Carolina native was arrested June 2nd when he was found with 124 grams of marijuana at the breezeway of Publix at Lake Deaton Plaza. Bledsoe had been arrested in March when he was found in a car at a Brownwood restaurant. A search of the car turned up 9.32 pounds of marijuana, a black digital scale, a bag containing cyclobin mushrooms, oxycodone, hydrochloride, and other pills. He was free on bond in that arrest. Bledsoe was arrested in connection with an earlier event. He was caught on surveillance at the Wildwood smoke shop, allegedly stealing 2 marijuana grinders and a multicolored torch lighter. Project-wide advisory committee will review updated pricing on the reconstruction of the windmill and water tower at Brownwood Paddock Square. PWAC meetings will meet at 8:30 a.m. Tuesday at the Sea Breeze Rec Center. The decorative structures were demolished prior to the start of the hurricane season because of rotting wood. The original cost of the demolition and reconstruction was estimated to be $225,000, with funding to come from residents living south of County Road 466. A single bid was received for the work. It came from Mark Cook Builders, which has worked on numerous projects in the Villages. The bid was for $126,756, considerably lower than had originally been anticipated. An after-hours visitor was arrested at the Lighthouse Point Bar and Grill at Lake Sumter Landing. A Sumter County Sheriff's deputy was on patrol at about 2 a.m. Friday when he noticed a gray Toyota Camry in the parking lot of the restaurant, which was closed. The vehicle had 2 occupants, 1 female, 1 male. The female was sitting on top of the male. Upon initial contact, the deputy wrote in the arrest report. The woman identified herself to deputies and was cooperative. However, the man, later identified as 32-year-old Travis Lee Cayley of Groveland, got out of the vehicle and began to walk away. He refused to identify himself to deputies. The Orlando native was taken into custody on a charge of resisting arrest. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. You know, dude, this is a retirement community. What are you doing? Coming here and playing kissy face and sucky tongue and stuff. A Village of St. James man has entered a plea to a felony charge after an alleged attack at a golf course. John Francis Stinnett, 61, has entered a written plea of not guilty to a charge of battery on a person over the age of 65. The plea was entered this week by Stinnett's attorney, J. Scott Herman, in Sumter County Court. The Maryland native remains free on $2,000 bond. You guys know about that, right? He pushed a guy. They were arguing about who picked up whose golf ball. You know. Big time stuff up here. Got the war in Ukraine. You got political divide in this whole country, arguing and carrying on. And then number 3 concern in this world is one of these guys took somebody's golf ball. A sexual offender released from prison last year has moved into the Villages. Jeffrey Buys, 62, earlier this week registered a permanent address at 1732 Madero Drive in the village of Santo Domingo, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. We used to rent a house up there when I came down on vacation for a week or two at a time. That area is a really nice area. It's too bad this scumbag's in it. Buys was released January 9, 2021 from a Florida prison, and upon his release had been living at 512 Sandalwood Lane in Wildwood. That's as you head down toward the Finney area. On the right-hand side, you'll see where it says Sandalwood Condominiums, I think. I think that's where this guy used to be, is right there amongst us. Bryce had been convicted in 2000 in Orange County on a charge of lewd and lascivious indecent assault of a child under the age of 16. Burn that image in your face, people. See him in any family pool sitting there. Any family pool, you just pick up your cell phone and call the sheriff's department immediately. An 89-year-old Canadian snowbird has been fined $116 in a crash that claimed the lives of a Stonecrest couple who had been buying groceries at a Winn-Dixie in the Villages. Wilfred Mabry offered a plea of abstention last month in Lake County Court to a reduced charge of driving on an expired license of less than 6 months. The Collingwood, Ontario resident was fined $116 and ordered to pay $100 in prosecution costs according to the plea agreement. Baby, on the afternoon of April the 9th, had been at the wheel of a 2017 Lexus RX 350 that struck 83-year-old Edward Mann and 84-year-old Marilyn Mann when they were in the marked crosswalk of the Winn-Dixie on Bishara Boulevard in Spanish Springs. She died that night at Ocala Regional Medical Center. Her husband died 2 days later. The Lady Lake Police Department, which investigated the crash, reported that Mabry's SUV made a left turn and accelerated rapidly for an undetermined reason before striking the couple. At the time, Mabry owned a home in the Rio Grande Villas, which he purchased in 2010 for $159,000. He sold the courtyard this past May for $279,129. He got the hell out of here. A villager will lose her driver's license after driving under the influence when she was at the wheel of a Mercedes and coming home from a party. Catherine Wallace Chandler, 75, who lives in the Quail Ridge Villas in the village of Briar Meadow, was at the wheel of the black 2013 Mercedes shortly after 9 p.m. June 3rd when she was traveling eastbound in a westbound lane of traffic on State Road 44. Several vehicles driving westbound on State Road 44 had to move out of the lane to avoid hitting her. During a traffic stop at Lake Deaton Plaza, Chandler said she was coming from a party where she had been dancing. The Pennsylvania native said she was heading home and thought she was on 301. She says, quote, "I do not see very well at night," unquote. I'm not going to read everything. She stumbled through field sobriety exercises. Half-empty bottle of Pinot Grigio wine was found in her vehicle. She provided 3 breath samples that registered .210, .177, and .186 blood alcohol contents. A criminal history check revealed that she had been convicted of drunk driving in 2013 in Sarasota. Last month in Sumter County Court, she pleaded no contest to a DUI charge. She has lost her driver's license for 6 months and has been placed on probation for 1 year. Here's a chance to relive the days when people would gather and sing the songs of the great folk era of the 1950s and 60s. The village's pop chorus folk singers are back for another fun-filled hootenanny to benefit Tutors for Kids Incorporated and All One Family Incorporated. The group performs the great folk songs made famous by Peter Palmieri, the Kingston Trio, New Christie Minstrels, the Brothers Four, and many other musicians at the time. Audiences find themselves singing along, clapping to the rousing upbeat music, and reflecting on the beautiful ballads of special musical era. All tickets are $15 general admission. Tickets can be purchased at, here's the website, thevillagespops.thundertix.com. Uh-oh. Bad news for you pickleball. Well, I don't know. Not bad news for pickleball players. Bad news for all of us residents, really. Yeah, here's more bad news. Rising costs. The rising cost of pickleballs will be discussed this week at the Amenity Authority Committee and the Project-Wide Advisory Committee. In 2020, both bodies entered into a contract with OLA, O-L-L-A, LLC, DBA Pickleball Central for the purchase and delivery of pickleballs at the cost of $10,259 per shipment. That's $24.08 per dozen. Inflation has been taking a toll on nearly everything, and pickleballs are not immune to rising prices. The AAC and PWAC are being asked to consider a 3% increase in the price of pickleballs. The new price will be $10,566 per shipment, or $24.80 per dozen. The rate increase will be effective October 1st. The money will come from the amenity fees paid by the residents. The Recreation Department annually purchases approximately 5,000 dozen pickleballs for use by villagers and their guests. You ever wonder where all these pickleballs disappear to? I've seen them. They're almost indestructible. They're a wiffle ball. Very thick wiffle ball is what they look like. I'm beginning to think that maybe somebody keeps taking these balls home and using them for other purposes other than what they're supposed to be used for, like maybe use them to play ball with their dog. Just saying. I don't know. Remember the lady that had the ugly painting on her house but wanted to keep it? But the reason why she couldn't, she didn't get ARC's approval. She didn't do that. She just hired somebody, and it probably cost her some money, to paint this monstrosity on her house. I call it that because the idea of having good taste here is very subjective. What you think is good taste, other people just look at it like, man, that's a mess. I see other things with this house, but I don't know this district. This district may allow this. Mine would not allow this. Not only the painting on this house would have to go. She's got fence of some kind going down the edges of her driveway and around and all this and that. I hope she got ARC approval to do that, because if she didn't, if somebody complains about that, she'll have to rip that out too. And the fence is weird colors, pink and green. Oh, Lord. Anyway, it's not my house. It's hers. A villager known for a mermaid mural on her house has brought her co-mingled collars into compliance. Erin Kellett, who lives at 1012 Aloha Way in the village of Orange Blossom Gardens, is back in good standing with community standards. Well, apparently she can have that fence, if they said it was okay. Last month, Kellett was ordered by the Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors to bring her co-mingled collars back into compliance. The VCCDD board's order did not impact the mermaid and other mural already painted on the garage doors. Kellett previously fought for and won permission for the murals. Okay, she got that. I guess they were arguing more about the colors. And I got to tell you truthfully, I look at her house and the colors of the roof and things like that, and it looks like a very nice house. This just doesn't look good to me at all. Even if this is my house, I'd tell them to take it off. That's just my opinion. Complaint was lodged November 28th with community standards about the foundation and trim of her home being painted in various colors and a railing that has been painted green and pink when Kellett decided to depart from the required color palette. A hue range by co-mingling her colors. She should have sought permission from the Architectural Review Committee. She would have faced daily fines of $50 if she didn't bring her property back into compliance. But she did. I'm not reading all this. She did. That's fine. This video is showing you a lot of updates of things that's happened in the past, and this is another one that I reported on. Now you know what the end of it was. But I will tell you this, for those of you who don't live here, don't play games with ARC. If you do something without their permission, it really isn't so much about generally what you did. It's the fact you didn't get permission and they don't back off. They'll make you tear it out. A large sinkhole at the end of a driveway has a neighborhood on edge in the villages. The sinkhole has formed at the home at 3180 Abana Path in the village of Fernandina. The village has taken precautionary steps and setting up barriers to keep traffic out of the cul-de-sac. A similar situation occurred with sinkhole in July in the village of Springdale. Community Development District Board supervisors were told in August that a clay plug initially was used in that sinkhole, followed by grouting to fill in the void. A villager's couple's son with a lengthy criminal history has been served with multiple warrants. Sean Vincent Sheehan, 44, who is already serving time in the Florida Department of Corrections, was returned this week in the Sumter County Detention Center due to a court order. While at the jail, Cena was served with multiple Sumter County warrants charging him with fleeing to elude law enforcement, resisting arrest, and theft. The New York native, who has lived for years with his parents at 1647 Snelling Avenue in the village of Mallory Square, has a lengthy criminal history. In 2013, Sheehan had been sentenced to house arrest in connection with a burglary at Hacienda Hills Country Club. In that 2012 incident, Sheehan was spotted at the country club with the cash drawer in his hands. I call that dead to rights. The glass window of an office at the country club had been broken out. He was arrested November 18, 2015, after he allegedly attempted to shoplift items from Belk at La Plaza Grande, that's up by Spanish Springs. He allegedly attempted to conceal nearly $200 in merchandise in a Belk bag and was found to have a wire cutter on him, presumably used to remove anti-shoplifting tags, the arrest report indicated. On December 30, 2015, he pleaded no contest to a charge of petty larceny and was sentenced to 180 days in Lake County Jail. He is currently serving prison time on charges of fleeing to elude law enforcement and possession of methamphetamine in Marion County and charges of burglary and criminal mischief in Broward. He is scheduled to remain in prison through 2024. Keep him there. We don't need him here. Oh, just when I think I'm done, I find another little story I was going to tell you, and I forgot to do it, so I got to come back and do it again. A 61-year-old sex offender living with his mother in the Villages was arrested Saturday night on a charge of driving under the influence. Edward Charles Wardingley, who lives at 1312 La Estrelita Way in the village of Santiago, was booked at 11 p.m. Saturday at the Sumter County Detention Center. He is also charged with violating his probation. Details of the arrest were not immediately available. Wardingley was convicted in 2018 of lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim between the ages of 12 and 15. You guys see this guy's picture that lives here in the Villages with his mommy. Burn it in your brain. You see him at a family pool with your grandchildren. Call the police. He moved to the Villages last year. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The original complaint from Orange County indicates that in 2018, Wardingley touched the breasts and buttocks of a 14-year-old girl with whom he had been staying while her mother was in Dallas on a business trip. The mother was monitoring the home through ADT and saw Wardingley touch the girl's breast. The mother came home and confronted Wardingley, who reported had been touching the girl's breast and buttocks daily for 2 months. He had asked to touch the girl's other private parts, but the girl refused. He also exposed his penis to the girl on multiple occasions. An investigator determined that Wardingley intentionally and repeatedly exposed his penis to the victim when they were alone in a lewd and lascivious manner. Wardingley's father died in 2019. Wardingley's parents purchased their home in the Villages in 2000. What can I say? New shirts, new hats, coffee cup mugs, all of them. I'm going to put it on this video here real quick. If you guys got them, if you guys supported the Children's Last Wish Fund thing that we support, especially in December, we're doing it earlier to try to get more for this year than that last year. Fun thing. Take a picture of it with you, if you can, family, whatever, and of your cup, of your hat, of your t-shirt, on you, whatever. Have fun with it. Send it to me. Take a picture of your stuff. And thank you all, once again, for supporting the kids. I can't do it without help. I got a $5,000 goal this year. So far, everything that we've sold, I think we're over 1,200 now. And so we're working hard at it, and we're still going at it. So thank you once again. And I think that'll be the news for this month. Don't leave your keys in the golf cart.